Everybody, it's me, Nelson. I'm here to talk to you today about some super cool laws who are my best friends. The three laws are Ohm's law, super useful law. Use it all the time, big fan. Second law is Kirchhoff's voltage law, super useful law, big fan. Use it all the time. And Kirchhoff coming back for round two. Third law is Kirchhoff's current law. You may have noticed the common theme. Super cool law, very useful, use it all the time. So, without further ado, let's go. So, the first law we're going to talk about is Ohm's law. And Ohm's law is really pretty simple. It's simply a way to relate current to voltage and resistance. Uh, and basically, Ohm's law states that the current through a conductor, and this is a resistor, but resistors are still conductors, is equal to the voltage across that conductor over the resistance. It's really that simple. Not much else to say. Normally, you'll see it written as the voltage across a conductor is equal to the current through the conductor times the resistance. That's just the way it's written out normally. Don't really know why. I guess it's a little bit nicer. No division symbols, whatever. So, if you had, let's say, 3 amps and you had 5 ohms, then the voltage across the resistor would, of course, be 15. 15 volts. And now, just so you know, this is going to come up later, a little bit important. For the purposes of summation of voltages, we consider a drop in voltage to be positive and a gain in voltage to be negative. And that's going to come up right now when we move on to our second law, Kirchhoff's voltage law. Now, Kirchhoff's voltage law, super useful law, really easy too. Basically, Kirchhoff's voltage law states that the sum of all voltages around any closed loop is equal to a big fat 0. And if you've done any amount of science or math, you know that 0 is our best friend. Love 0. Super great number. Not the greatest number, obviously. It's probably number 2. I would say it goes E0 pi, probably. J is alright also, I guess, if you're into that sort of thing. Now, this is pretty simple. Let's say you can take any point in a circuit, right? Let's say you start right here. And if you went over here, and you went up like this, and you went back over here, and then down through this voltage source, and then back over, and you went over this way, and you went up through this resistor, and back over, and then down through this resistor. You started going around into figure 8 for some reason. I'm not sure why. I guess you got lost, and then all of a sudden you just start doing a circle in the same mesh over and over again, just forever. No matter how many times you do this, get to the same spot, you're going to be equal to the same voltage. Makes sense, obviously. Let's say you did this big circle over and over again, right? You would gain Vs through the voltage source and then lose it through the resistor. And you would gain it again through the source and then lose it again through the resistor, and so on and so forth. Interestingly enough, if you go up here, you gain the voltage source, you lose the voltage source voltage, I should say, sorry. You get back here, same voltage. If you go up this way and instead go through this resistor, you're going to lose the same voltage. You have to, because you've gotten back to the same point. So one sort of corollary of this, I guess you should say, is that the voltage drop across any 2 branches in parallel has to be equal. Has to be equal. If you're not sure what parallel means, I'm sorry. I'm assuming that you do for the purposes of this video. I'm sure there's lots of good information for you out there. And so what that states is, so one, just as a quick aside here, you can assign polarities to resistors based on voltages. Like if you know the voltage on this side is higher than the voltage on this side, then you put a little plus and a little minus. So let's say you started right here, right? You would go over here, you would add some voltage because you hit a positive sign, you see here? There's a positive sign there, so you add the voltage. That's called the passive sign convention. Just a little bit of extra knowledge for you there. And then you go over here, and you gain voltage because there's a negative sign. Again, passive sign convention, super useful. And then you're right back where you started. Kirchhoff's voltage law. There it is. Now let's just slide our way down over here to Kirchhoff's current law. Now Kirchhoff's current law is really, really simple, really, really useful, and really, really good. The most intuitive way of describing Kirchhoff's current law is that the sum of all currents entering a node, this is a node. Basically, a node is where any three or more branches of a circuit connects. Although technically you could use, a binary node, which is where there's a branch on either side, and it would still be correct. But then it's the same branch, really, and so you know that you should already know. If you don't, here it is, that the current through a branch has to be the same everywhere. So binary nodes aren't really that important. This is a regular node. It has at least 3 branches connected to it. The sum of currents entering a node is equal to the sum of currents exiting the node. And now that just makes sense logically, right? Like if you had 3 amps over here and you had 9 amps over here, both of those are entering the node. So by summation, 9 plus 3, 12. And I think most people would be able to just intuitively guess that, in fact, 12 has to leave. Even if they didn't know the law beforehand, that just makes the most sense. And of course it does, because if you had, let's just say, for, argument's sake, you had less than 12 exiting the node. Where'd it go? Where'd the current go? Did it disappear? Did you just, screw off? Like, where did it go? No, that doesn't make any sense. And if you had more than 12, where'd you get it? Did you just create power out of nothing? Are you some sort of wizard? No. Get out of here. You're not a wizard. Or at least if you are, I'm sure you'd be doing much cooler stuff than breaking Kirchhoff's current law. Make yourself gold or something, please. Anyways, that's the basic way to describe Kirchhoff's current law. The way we normally describe it, and this is for the purposes of nodal analysis, is that we say, let me just delete this guy here. Oh, I guess I'll just erase this guy. That the sum of all currents exiting a node is equal to a big fat 0. And now, that might not make any sense, but it does if you think about it for, just a little bit. Let's say, so if you're using the law in this mode, then what you're going to do is whenever you look at a node, you're always going to draw all the currents exiting the node every single time, just by default. And so let's say we wanted the exact same circuit as before, whatever circuit was causing the 9, the 3, and the 12, hooked up to the exact same ports. What would happen is, and this is where it gets, a little tricky, not very tricky though, I'm sure you guys can handle it. If you had 3 amps entering a node, well, that's the same thing as negative 3 amps exiting the node. Because, it's just negative is just the opposite way. So if it's negative 3 exiting, it's 3 entering. And we knew it was 3 entering. So that is correct. So over here, this would be negative 9. And this would still be 12. And this is the exact same thing as the other circuit, just written slightly differently. And this may not make that much sense right now, why we would write it like this, but it's easier for a more mechanical, methodical approach to solving circuits, which we will get in nodal analysis. Anyways, those are the 3 basic laws. Hopefully, you've learned some things along the way. If not, I'm sorry I let you down, and I will weep for my failure. Bye!